Okay, pull. More worried about your overhead view. Oh, yes.
I remember watching a video that you posted on Facebook once about the Finch.
Oh, okay.
It was years ago.
So your streamline's good. Streamline's good. Trying to stop yourself.
That's what's going on there.
Okay. Fingertips forwards.
That's the little break. Those just don't get up.
Okay. So just looking at your body line. Head, hips, and heels are touching, which is good. Okay. Your eyes, for a pool swimmer, too far forward. You want your eyes facing down or straight down. Okay, there's no, especially with your left arm, with your left arm, your elbow hits before your hand does. You see that?
Yeah.
That's your elbow there. Your hand is here.
Right, yep.
So what that's telling you is that you're actually overextending in your recovery before you hit the water. So you're reaching out of the water before you hit the water.
Yep.
So you need to enter a lot sooner. Because it's giving, so whilst you don't seem to over-rotate too much, which is good, and you end up having, I think to compensate for that, you have a really wide pool, possibly. But what you're going to notice here is you see all this, this, but all these air bubbles are coming from underneath your forearm. So you actually have you have too much air underneath your hand and forearm pulling, and not enough water.
Right.
So why it's important to enter fingertips first is that when you have your whole arm following the entry of your fingertips, you basically slide straight into the water, and by the time you get to your extended position, you have nothing but water around your hand and your arm, and that allows you to get the best possible hold of the water that you can get. So think of it as slipping.
Yeah.
So if there's too much air around your hands, you're going to slip.
Makes sense.
Okay, so that looks good, this line here. But as you can see, there's a lot
Yeah, you can.
a lot of air and bubbles resistance.
Yeah, all the way down the bottom. That's not right.
Okay, just looking at this hold of the water here. So you're trying to start your pool from the surface of the water.
Yeah.
What I want you to think about is entering with your fingertips first, a little bit earlier. Entering with your fingertips first, and I want you to extend to armpit depth before you start trying to pull with your fingertips. So instead of as soon as your hand's coming over, you're trying to grab the water straight away, you're ripping. You need to slide your fingers in, okay, armpit depth, and then I want you to start pulling down. So you're pulling down too early.
Yep.
And you're trying to hold the water, but there's not enough water around your hand, and that's a little bit too steep there. So you don't. Let's see if it comes into this hand. You can't really see that hand. Yeah, so ideally you don't want to hook too much with the hand. You want to get into that position and you want to have your elbow follow that hand wrist position instead of pulling down like that. Yeah, you want everything to sort of come over the top of the barrel.
Use your forearm.
Yeah, yeah. So you want to use your fingertips to almost, when you pull with your fingertip, it's almost like tapping down and it gets your elbow to pop up at the front as you start your pull. I'm not sure if you take a breath. Okay. All right, I can tell from here, well, I'm pretty certain, I'll be able to see in the other view hopefully, but I think you might have almost, as your arm's coming over, it's almost like you're jumping out for a breath and then putting your eyes back in.
With the head down.
Yeah, so if your eyes were down and you could just, with the momentum of your extending arm, turn your eyes to the side and then have your eyes come back down. I noticed in your normal swimming that you were turning your head for a breath a little bit late. So this might have something to do with it as well. Okay, here's this elbow. See that?
Yeah.
Warm. So you have high elbows. Perfect. You just need to start entering around here. Bring that hand down earlier. So it's going to feel like you're chopping in just in front of your head, but you're not. It's going to feel like it's massive movement. It's only going to be subtle.
So when I sprint, I think do this. What works on trying to sprint, this is like just get through the water as fast as possible.
Yeah. So you need to control that recovery a bit better, but learn to control it in a way that allows freedom of movement. So you don't want to be too controlling that it's restricting your pace. You want to be able to find a way where you can freely move really quickly, but just think about entering the water a bit quickly with your fingertips, as opposed to trying to control the micro movements of the arm. Yep, definitely need to get your head down. Okay, so this overreaching before you enter the water is causing a little bit of S-ing through your body. You see that?
Yeah.
Okay, so if you enter the water, get a better view. So if you entered about here or here,
With your hand.
so it's almost like, yeah, so it's like you want to enter, so if your arm's out in front, you want to enter within the forearm in front of your head, in that space. But you're entering at full arm's length. Okay, so you want to enter within the forearm area and extend forward in front of the shoulder. Okay, which you're doing there. But because what happens when you overreach in your recovery, when you hit the water, you tend to want to reach a bit more. So you've reached as far as you can go, and then you're going for more when you hit the water, and that's causing too much.
Yeah. So you really like pulling back on it most of the stage.
Yeah. You could enter a fraction wider too, just so you're not completely jammed up. So you can have like a slight gap between your arm and your head. Yeah. Yeah. It's a little bit. There's too much over rotation in the shoulders.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think.
It's all connected, isn't it?
Yeah. So your technique is good. Your technique is good. You just need to make some minor adjustments. You need to definitely enter earlier. You need to enter a little bit wider, and make sure that you enter fingertip first and down to armpit depth.
It's counterfeit, right?
Okay, can you see your arm angle there?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's wide, but it's wide, but yeah, the angle needs to be maybe not that steep, but definitely,
Gotcha.
yeah. So you're looking for underneath the shoulder line. It's not quite accurate, but underneath the shoulder line.
But not in further way.
Yeah, and you want a high elbow. You can have a high elbow passing through. Yeah. You're going to notice a big difference in the way it feels to swim when you start entering a bit earlier with your fingertips only. You extend forward and you don't start pulling until like you've extended underwater. Because when you do that, it's going to allow all the bubbles to disappear instead of pulling from the surface down.
So you do. I find this where I sound like this is when I'm doing 150s, but when I do longer swimming, I tend to do more of that entering in, but I just can't do that and swim fast. But maybe it's practice.
You can. There's going to be a blend of it, and even in your sprinting here, if you're swimming hundreds, you could hold that arm out a fraction longer out in front.